Feeling ko, yung pinakamagandang advice na narinig ko is, the first thing you do when you graduate from school is to set up separate bank accounts.
So for example, no, if you have enough money and you want to buy a condo unit, so do you think that's actually a smart investment and as the first major investment, no? As a when you're in your 30s.
Monitor mo yung spending mo eh. I think it starts with that. Kasi kung hindi mo ma-monitor yung expenses mo and yung spending mo, wala kang pang-invest, wala kang pang-save.
Well, now is a good time to invest. Pero yun na nga, have that mindset na this is something that I'll hold on for a long period of time.
How liquid do you need to be if you want to start a business? So for example, no, very uso ngayon magkaroon ng coffee shop. That has now become a thing lately. And a lot of millennials and Gen Zs really regard coffee as a necessity. How liquid do you need to be if you want to start a business?
Hi everyone! Welcome to the first episode of Breaking Ground. My name's Carl and I'll be your host for today. And for today's episode, we'll be talking about the many ways you can grow your money. And here with us today are Ms. April Tan, Chief Equity Strategist of Call Financial Corporation, and Mr. Andre D., NAC Vice President for Sales, Treasury, and Investor Relations. Now, let's go to the podcast.
So for today's episode, actually I'll be focusing on something that may not be the most important thing in the world, no, but actually it really affects everything. So this is going to be about money. And I think it's interesting, no, while financial planning is a major life skill, a lot of Filipinos really don't put too much effort on really, how to build up their savings. Hindi rin siya kasama sa curriculum sa school. And yet, it's very important. So, just to help us navigate this topic for today, so we have two guests. First, currently, the Vice President for Treasury, Investor Relations, and Mining Sales for Nickel Asia. He also used to be part of CITIC, CLSA Philippines, and Citibank, Mr. Andre D. Thank you, Andre. And of course, our next guest we have here today is currently the Chief Equity Strategist of Call Financial. She is also a columnist at the Philippine Daily Inquirer where she talks about stocks, finance, and markets. Ms. April Tan. Okay, so thank you and thank you for joining us here today sa Breaking Ground. So before we start, we just want to know din, how you got into finance. Like, ano ba yung background nyo? Why do you like finance? And it seems that both of you are thriving in this industry as well. Let's start with Andre.
Oh, okay. I thought ladies first.
Sige, ladies first, Ms. April.
Why did I get into finance? Actually, it was an accident.
Talaga?
Kasi initially, well, kasi I graduated from the Ateneo and most students in the Ateneo want to get into marketing. But unfortunately, marketing wasn't for me. And then, initially, I actually wanted to, believe it or not, pursue a career in music. Yes.
Talaga.
So, initially, I thought I was gonna take a second course in music. But then I decided, sabi ko, ayoko na lang.
But like an voice or instrument?
Voice.
Voice. So you
So, in my past life, yes, I did sing. And I wanted to pursue a career there. But then I said, parang boring naman ata. Mag-aaral na naman ako.
Mhm.
Parang ayoko na yata. So anyway, I was kind of late. And then, I had some friends who were working in finance. And I said, it sounds very interesting because my favorite subject when I was in the university was economics. So I said, parang type ko yung ginagawa nila na nasa finance. So sabi ko, sige, I'll apply na lang to work in finance. Because initially, I was trying for marketing jobs, but, it wasn't as successful. And then, so I applied for mga finance jobs and that proved to be more successful. So I ended up being working in the industry. Yeah.
So, in your past life, singer ka pala.
Yes.
How about you, Andre?
Well, I don't sing as well as April. So for me, I also started in sales marketing.
Okay.
And then I thought I wasn't really connected to the job at that time. So Then I found an opportunity to work in the finance industry. And this was during the global financial crisis. So I joined at the perfect time. So it was the time when the Lehman Brothers collapsed. So I joined an investment boutique firm, and that's where it opened a lot of opportunities and of learning. And then I just continued to learn more during that experience, and I stayed on in the finance industry since then, back in '08. And so I felt more that it helped me also with my career. And then I moved to consumer banking and then corporate banking and then to equity sales. So yeah, I built my career on finance already.
Paano kaya pag, like, for example, no, someone like me who's really not into finance or economics. So, how can I start being financially responsible, especially if it's something that's I'm not really interested in? Parang it's also something to do with Filipino culture or behavior na parang it's taboo to talk about finance or money. So, parang where do you start if you want to be at least kumbaga sa financial literacy, yung elementary level?
I'll share na lang. Kasi, well, I think, in a way, ang realization ko nga, it's not something that is normal. Kasi at this point, like, I already have a daughter who's graduating. And then, yun na nga, tinanong niya, parang, ano gagawin ko? Or, parang, ayaw nga, no, it's not normal. So, like, I've seen some, or I've watched some podcasts and listened to a lot of advice. And feeling ko, yung pinaka-magandang advice na narinig ko is, the first thing you do when you graduate from school is to set up separate bank accounts. Yeah. And then, ang gagawin mo is, i-separate mo na one bank account is for your everyday spending, yung mga necessities, and then another one is for yung savings and investment mo. And then the third account is for I can do whatever I want account. So, ihiwalay mo na siya para automatic na yung you stick to the plan. Kasi ang nagiging problem kadalasan is ang nagiging attitude natin is spend tayo. And then, if ever there's anything left over, that's the only time we think of investments. When in fact, the equation has to be, I prioritize my savings and investment over and above everything else.
Paano ba? Meron bang magic number when it comes to that part? Like, for example, if I earn 100, like 30% should be on this, X% for this. Meron bang ganung formula for that?
Yung sabi nila, 20%, which I think is a good number.
20% for
savings and investment. But like for example, yung sa company namin, may mga matitipid talaga na employees. I mean, meron magagastos, pero meron din namang matitipid. So I guess, it's not like a magic formula, 20 lang. Yung iba nakaka-50. So maybe initially you could do that. You separate it into that basket. And then you realize, ang dami pang natitira afterwards. So if you realize that, I think it's a good idea na i-adjust mo siya. Maybe you do like a annual review. Tapos pag nakita mo, pag maraming matira, ibig na, gagastusin ko na lang to. You set it aside.
So dapat mauna yung pag-set aside before yung spending.
Yes. No.
Do you agree, Andre? Ikaw, anong strategy mo?
Ako yan, unang tulad ng sabi ni April, yung buckets na yan, ang isang way rin is i-monitor mo yung spending mo eh. I think it starts with that kasi kung hindi mo ma-monitor yung expenses mo and yung spending mo, wala kang pang-invest, wala kang pang-save. So I think you have to monitor your monthly expenses first. And then that's when you makikita mo yung extra mo. You're already ahead by having that extra. And then ang isa pa sa spending habits, yung hindi nakakatulong rin for most Filipinos, yung mag-spend ka ng hindi mo pa kinikita yung pera. So it's the credit card debt. So these are things na we have to be very, very careful of. No? We might think the telemarketers will promote that it's only 0.5%, pero the effective interest rate is actually hurting our bank accounts. Then they will have to pay for that. So that's something we have to be careful of. So like what April had mentioned, you have to separate now what you're going to spend and then be disciplined. And then yung extra, yun na yung pwede mong gastusin. And then yung savings nga, maganda na nga yung rate na 20% ng kinikita mo. Pero you can do better in some months. Kung may ibang buwan na hindi mo naman kailangan gumastos, biglang as much as 50% nga pwede mong save and invest. Malaking, malaking advantage agad yun for you. Kung na-invest mo siya on that month, and then 6 months mo siya na-place, that will really compound wealth for you.
Oh, compound. Okay,
Oo.
sige. Pupunta tayo dyan later. But like, for example, no, kasi ito uso to sa mga kabatch ko, magbubook ako ng ticket going to a place. Tapos, okay, magbubook ako for June. Iniisip ko, yung bonus for mid-year darating ng May. So, pwede na yun kasi at least alam ko na may magagastos naman ako sa trip ko. So, is that a bad decision, doing that?
Well, for me, hindi naman. Pero, I guess, it's more of yun na nga eh. Yung sinabi nga ni Andre na, I guess, sticking within the budget. Yung maganda ngayon is, like before, you have to, like, say, put it in an Excel file or sa papel, yung budget. I think what's important is, I guess, baka may mga ibang magsasabi na kung paano ito, every month kulang. So, you can download an app, tapos makikita mo na doon, matatrack mo, parang nga, nasa corporate. Tignan mo, saan ba ako dito pwedeng matipid?
Mag-cost cutting.
Mag-cost
para ma-afford
cutting.
ka ng trip. Okay.
So, as long as we work within those parameters, those budget, wala namang masama doon na. Siyempre, we have to enjoy din naman what we earn. So, kung over ka na, tapos isipin mo yung future, tapos gagastusin mo na naman. Mahirap.
Actually, nabanggit ni Andre kanina yung compound wealth. No? Parang, for example, if I'm able to save 20% of what I earn, what are the best ways for me to grow that? Sabi nga natin, no, they say, when you're starting, it's really difficult to earn your first million. But then, once you earn your first million, they say it's easier to grow that. Kasi naka 1 million ka na eh. So parang, ano ba ibig sabihin nun? Is it because since may 1 million ka na, mas malaki yung pera mo that you can invest in, so mas malaki rin yung interest? And if that's the case, like, for the both of you, ano yung mga best ways or best vehicles for you to grow that?
Maraming products na pwedeng, lalo na ngayon in the internet, it's all out there. So, as long as you do your research, and then you read about, and then you do your due diligence about the service providers, there's a lot that can offer you a good return for your savings and investments. So, there are mga mutual funds, there are also index funds that you can invest in depending on your appetite. So, and then there are also income products that can also help diversify your portfolio. So it really varies, no, depending on your appetite.
So, ano yung difference ng mutual fund and yung index fund?
Well, sa mga mutual funds, for example, the underlying assets of the mutual funds, well stated yan, no? Whether they're holding a basket of assets that growth that perform at a certain rate, and then it's a pooled asset. So yung mga nagsusubscribe to the mutual fund, you buy a share, no, of that fund, and then depending on the performance of these assets, you get a return for the year. So usually that return can really beat inflation. So that's a very good way to preserve your wealth or to even grow wealth. And I think si April can explain more, no, also with her experience.
So, yung mutual fund kasi, I think it's important to tell the viewers or listeners, maraming klase index funds, only one kind. Oo. So yun nga, mamimili ka kung ano yung mas type mo. Kasi ang mutual fund, ibig sabihin, kaya nga mutual, halo-halo, maraming investor.
Marami kayo.
Kasi maliit lang yung pera mo.
Mm.
Pero pag marami kayo, malaki, nagiging billion. So, your options improve. And then, an index fund kasi is yung isang type na fund siya na puro stocks. Pero ang ginagawa ng fund manager, ginagaya niya yung composition ng PSBI index. So, pero meron din naman yung ibang klaseng mga mutual funds na nag-invest sa bonds. And then there are those also that invest in, sabihin natin, mga money market instruments. Pero anyway, kung masyadong complicated, kanina we talked about compounding. I think it's important lang to know why kailangan intindihin yung power of compounding. Kasi, let's say, yun na nga, sinabi mo, first million is hard. Kasi, pag maliit nga yung capital mo, let's say, meron kang 1,000 pesos. Tapos, kumita ka ng 10% sa isang taon. Ang 10% ng 1,000 is only 100 pesos. So, nakakawalang gana, di ba? Kasi pagpunta ko Starbucks, kulang nga yung 50 pesos, di ba? But if I have 100,000 pesos and I earn 10%, then it's 10,000. Kaya nga, pag naging 1 million na yan at naging 10%, so it's 100,000. So, that's why it's, compounding. And then, yun na nga, if you just compound that money, mas mabilis siyang lumaki. Like, di ba, there's this rule of 72. Pag
Ano yung rule of 7?
So, yung 72, i-divide mo siya by the interest rate na compounding. And that will tell you how many years it will take to double your money. So, let's say, ang interest rate ay 10%. So, kala mo, ay 10%. So, 10 years yun. Hindi. Pag kinumpound mo siya, ang 10%, 7 years lang gano'n din ang pera. Yun. So, may ganong element siya. And then I also want to share with the listeners right now yung good news na medyo recent lang. Kasi one of the things that I didn't even realize, kasi dati, di ba, pag nagde-deposit tayo sa bangko, ang baba ng interest. Pero the good news right now, na hindi ko rin na-realize, at na-realize ko lang after talking to young folks and also yun, nanonood, nakikinig sa mga personal finance influencers is yung mga digital banks natin, mataas ang interest and you don't have to put a lot.
That's true.
So, yung mga bagong nagsisave, you can put your money in digital banks. And then, yun na nga, mataas ang, huwag kayong utang. Place kayo doon.
Actually, it was Andre who taught me how to use one. Yung C-Bank.
Oh,
Right? And then you also have yung GCash, di ba? I think
Yes.
Paymaya also has that.
Pero kung gusto nyong safety, make sure ninyo na ano yan, DSP
Register.
registered and licensed. Tapos meron kayong, di ba, protection up to 500,000 for depositors. Wag kung saan mataas tapos nung kayo maglalagay. Kasi hindi naman pala, di ba? Hindi sila regulated by the BSP. So baka mawala yung pera ninyo. Kasi
Totoo.
mahabol kayo sa mataas na interest.
Actually, nag-compile din kami ng iba't ibang questions from different people. And one of the questions that came up is, maganda bang investment yung pagbili ng condo? So for example, if you have enough money and you want to buy a condo unit, kasi they're saying na, especially sa age ko, I'm already 30 years old. So parang they say na masyado kasing mahal kung bibili ka ng lupa, or like a house. So parang the closest thing is having a condo unit. So do you think that's actually a smart investment and as the first major investment, when you're in your 30s?
okay. Well, yung property prices kasi ngayon, mataas siya, lalo na kung sa mga Makati, BGC. So, saka malaking pera yung kailangan pag bibili ka ng condo. Tapos, uutang ka sa bangko, and mortgage rates right now, mataas din yung mga kinukot sa bangko given where interest rates are. So, kung ikaw ay may trabaho, or mag-asawa kayo at bibili kayo ng condo, pero ang question yata is kung ito for investment, diba? So, kung pang-investment siya, sabihin papaupahan mo, and then you'll try to get a yield from that. you'll have to match that, no? Whether the yield that you will collect from the condo will be enough to service the mortgage expenses that you're paying monthly. If it doesn't, then it's not really a good investment. If it's a yield play, kasi ang bet mo na lang on the asset is mag-appreciate pa yung presyo ng condo and then you sell it later for a bigger realized gain, no? So if it's just for that, the rental income, you might have to revisit that. Kasi yung rates ngayon ng pag-rent versus yung presyo ng condo, baka malayo. Baka you might not get the yield that you're going for. You're better off your money, katulad ng sabi ni April, you can put it in actually the digital banks that are paying you so much. Tapos PDIC insured pa siya. Then you can get 4 or 5%. I'm not sure if you can buy a condo and get a 4 or 5% yield on the rental income given the circumstances today.
Parang wala. Parang actually, because ang laki ng tinaas ng condo prices, it's hard to get that an attractive yield. Mga yun nga, mas okay na wag muna kasi naging mahal. But, I think maybe in the future, it would be good to buy, but not right now. Marami kasing factors din. Siguro, you have to be on standby if you want to buy and wait for bargains. Kasi every once in a while, may nagbebenta ng magandang presyo.
So parang generally now is not really a good time to go into condo buying for investment.
But there are opportunities, I would say. And also, I think yung isang personal observation ko lang kasi also another thing that I don't really talk much about, I also invest in properties. And in my past life, not in my past, I still do it now. But when I started out, investing in properties, kaya niyang mag-self-liquidate. What do you mean by self-liquidate? Pag pinaupa ko ang condo, yung hinuhulugan ko sa bangko, magmamatch.
Yung parang sinasabi
Yes.
ni Andre kanina, no?
So, ang inipon ko lang yung down payment, tapos the rest, babayaran na niya sarili niya. But now, sa laki ng tinaas ng presyo, wala nang ganun. Pero, that's it. My personal reflection on that, do I regret doing it or buying? Or, would I completely discourage somebody? And in a way, hindi rin. Kasi, if you think about it, what is, let's say, kung may malaki akong sweldo, tapos wala akong hinuhulugang condo, anong gano'n?
True. Baka
Gagastusin mo
mauubos
siya.
lang
Oo,
pera mo.
yes. So, in that way, it's also good. But maybe, to counteract that, baka nga you put it into buckets na lang. Tapos, i-separate mo siya para hindi mo siya magalaw. Rather than say, ang dami ko palang pera dito. Gastin ko na lang kasi wala naman akong, parang never ko naman ma-afford yung condo siya. Siya mahal, etc. Kasi yun na nga, there will be opportunities. Bili kayo ng mas luma na condo. Kasi, usually, ang original buyer niya, baka nabili niya, mura lang. So, pag nahirapan na siya, magbebenta siya ng mas murang price. But you have to have the money. You have to be ready to buy it. So, yun. Ipunan yun.
I see. Paano naman, for example, another question naman is, if you want to go into business. So, the question is, how liquid do you need to be if you want to start a business? So, for example, very uso ngayon magkaroon ng coffee shop. So, it has now become a thing lately. And a lot of millennials and Gen Zs really regard coffee as a necessity. Parang nasa budget na rin nila na everyday you have to pay for coffee. So, how liquid do you need to be if you want to start a business?
Start? Okay. My thoughts on that. Well, first of all, syempre, you have to raise enough to create that coffee shop. But secondly, I think, when I was also young, I didn't realize that. But, through the years, ang realization ko, when you go into business, you have to assume na manlugi kayo for maybe 6 months to a year. Basta kailangan may budget kayo and open yourself to the possibility.
To stay afloat, no?
That you could lose money and possibly, like, can you afford to lose all of that money? Kasi may chance din naman na malugi kayo. Kaya nga, so, I mean, parang pag-isipan niyo talaga na mabuti. If you really wanna do that. So, rather than mabibigla kayo, kasi you need that runway na makilala kayo. Kung maganda talaga produkto niyo, put all your heart and soul into it. And then, if it doesn't work, then huwag kayo mapikon kasi that's just how it is when you get into business. Di ba?
Risk taking talaga.
High risk, high reward.
Ikaw, Andre, what do you think of that?
Tama si April. Talagang kailangan handa kayo. Kasi ang business, hindi ka agad-agad yan na jackpot ka eh. So you need to compute your working capital. Let's say April said, maybe it will take you 6 months to a year to ramp up. So bukod sa unang capital expenditure na inilagay mo, meron ka pang working capital na isa-set aside para ma-ramp up mo talaga yung market mo. And then, pag talagang nag-succeed and yung naging self-cash generating siya, then that's when you can lay off the buffers of working capital. Then you see the fruits of your labor. But you have to be prepared. How liquid? Yeah, you have to, it will depend, case to case yan sa business.
So, kunyari, lugi ka na ng 3 years, you think, dapat, sign mo na yun na
Tagal na yan.
baka hindi ito para sa'yo.
Oo. Mag-reflect ka na.
So, give yourself 6 months to a year. But beyond that, baka need i-recalibrate or calibrate yung operation.
Or, I mean, again, ang maganda ngayon is meron tayong mga venture capital firms na, kasi yung iba, ang style naman nila is they create the demand. So, pag nakikita mo, lumalakas naman ang demand. Tapos may demand talaga. Maybe, the business is good enough to pitch to a venture capitalist and they will be willing to fund your
Walang loan shark.
What loan shark?
Dapat venture
Venture capitalist or private equity firms. Yeah.
Ngayon, may isa pa tayong question. So, kanina pumunta tayo real estate and then going into business. Ito naman, retirement na agad. Okay, so how much do you need in your bank to quit your job and never work again? Parang ang hirap nun.
Depende yan. Depende sa... Siyempre, the most ideal scenario would be, let's say, you compute your monthly expense, tapos, i-assume mo na, let's say, yung amount ng money, you just put it in a bond, tapos yung generate na income from the bond placement is enough to cover your monthly expenses. But then that's a very simplistic assumption because it assumes walang inflation. Diba? Tsaka lagi kang makaka-place sa ganung
At saka paano nag-start ka single, tapos biglang mag-family ka.
So, that's quite a very simplistic. But that is one way you can look at it.
So, have enough money na whatever yung kitain nun is enough to sustain your monthly lifestyle. How about you, Andre?
Same. I'll just add lang siguro there. Kailangan may emergency funds pa kasi nagkakasakit tayo. So, yung sa medicine and yung mga unexpected or, diba? So, kaya yung question na yun, ang hirap lagyan ng number because it depends It's case to case for everybody. But the monthly expenses would be a good barometer. And then plus add a buffer for emergency, rainy day expenditure.
Actually, since you were talking about your lifestyle and expenses, what are your observations compare your generation? Well, how would you describe the lifestyle of the Gen Zs and the millennials and compared to your generation? I'm not gonna assume na Gen Y or millennial, but what's your take on that?
When, before, when I had a show, may guest ako, sabi niya kasi, unfair naman observation sa young ones. But sabi niya kasi, in general though, I guess because now, mas maraming resources and then a lot of people talk about products. Mas discerning daw yung the younger ones. Yeah. So they go for quality. Then, you know, it seems like they spend a lot. But, I mean, I kind of think about it also. Kasi, in a way rin, or let's say, I'm a young person, and then sabihin ko, my aspiration is to own my own place.
Mhm.
But then, if I want to own my own place, sabi natin, maliit lang na condo, punta ako sa SMDC, nagtanong ako, 10 million pesos. Paano ko ba ma-afford yan? Di ba, parang isipin ko, ay, hindi ko ma-afford yan. So, yun na nga. Gagawin ko, ganastusin ko na lang yung pera ko. I'll just be a renter for life, di ba? So, unlike, let's say, our generation, mura lang naman dati. Would you believe, the first time I bought an SMDC condo, ang bili ko lang parang 1 million pesos na.
1 unit is 1
1
million.
unit, 1 million pesos, 55,000 per square meter, 21 square meter. 1 million pesos. Tapos ang parking, few hundred thousand.
That's not even enough for a parking now. Yung
Yes, oo. So, I mean, it was expensive in those days. Pero hindi siya out of reach. So, pero ngayon, pag sa 10 million, parang, hindi ko gastusin mo na lang yung pera, mag-rent na lang ako. So, it's kind of unfair to say na magagastos ang young ones. But I guess the mindset has to be like, you still try to save and invest. Diba? Kasi there will always be opportunities. And if you don't have that liquidity, you cannot do it.
Pero, ikaw, Andre.
Yeah, I like what April said. You have to be ready. Parang pag dumating yung opportunity na yan, and then at the right time, then you're liquid enough to grab the opportunity. You can do it. No? That's your chance to get it. Kasi ngayon nga, 10 million na ang condo. Paano nga ba bibilin yan? Diba? But if the opportunity comes and then there is some discount, or some sellers, yung mga sa lumang condo, and then they will sell because they bought it at a cheaper price, you have to be ready. So at least you have to have the savings, no? Your buckets. Disiplinado ka. So nandun yung buckets mo para pag dumating yung time na yun, you look at that bucket, oh, I have that liquid cash that I can use to grab the opportunity.
Actually, it's interesting what you said, April, about renting. Because Sir JB and I had a discussion a while back kasi I'm actually renting. But my mom wants me to buy my own condo. Pero kasi iniisip ko, that's just going to be a liability for me. So, I'd rather rent. And Sir JB said that, kasi that's such a that's a boomer thing na parang you always have to own your house or your condo. What do you think of that?
Ako, depende rin. Alam mo kasi, depende yan sa landlord. Hindi, kasi yung buti kung mabait yung landlord mo and you can rent their unit forever. Let's say you like it. You can rent it. Kasi parang there's also something about owning your own place. Like if you want to decorate it, do stuff, and you don't have that freedom if you're renting. Paano kung yung inupahan, tapos biglang may tulong, may sira, whatever. Tapos,
Or laging nagtataas, no?
oo, laging nagtataas. Ganun. Wala kang security in that respect. Kasi parang, I also think about that. Let's say, kami naman, it's more of upgrading. Kasi, let's say, we're staying in a place, but we want something better. Pero, syempre, for example, we want to live in BGC. But if we want to live in BGC, let's say, okay, so I want a 3-bedroom, but it's 70 to 100 million. Parang, mahal, diba? So, pero pag nirent ko yun, 200,000 naman. So, kung pagbitin mo, parang, pwede magto 200,000 na ako. Parang may problema. Si landlord na lang. Diba? Ayos. So, parang, at least natago ko pera. Mga ganun. Pero yun na nga, the freedom of, yung alam mong di ka pala naiasin, or lahat ng gusto mo, magagawa mo.
May pros and cons din talaga.
Ano rin.
Yeah, owning a property, syempre, there are pros and cons, like we mentioned the security, and what you can do when you're freedom. But at the same time, if you think also of the money that you're gonna part with, lalo na with how prices are, and then you compare it with yung options mo of renting, Just as long as hindi ka malalagay sa position na financially burdened ka na, then if you can afford it, then why not buy, no? But I think the renting kasi it can help solve your monthly computation, no? If the rent, kung naswerte mo nga yung landlord na madaling kausap, saka hindi ka masyadong inaakitan ng rent.
Yeah.
Oo. So, yung mga ganung bagay. So, yun yung pro nun. Wala kang ilalabas na malaking down payment para bumili ng condo. Hindi ka mag-worry sa mga monthly amortization mo sa bangko. Tapos may repricing ka every 3-4 years ng rate. So, may pros and cons din.
Yeah.
But hindi kailangan mag-own ng property kung hindi siya at the right price.
Basta make sure to save that money in case the opportunity happens or becomes available.
Yes.
You have to be there to take advantage of it. Hindi yung parang, ay, forever, enjoy na lang.
For example, no, let's say I'm someone who earns 50,000 a month. I read, maybe for example, I use 10,000 of my salary for rent, and then, okay, let's just say 25,000 for everything. So I have a spare 25,000. What is the best way for me to grow that money every month? I mean, can you afford to get several buckets even if you just have 25,000 a month?
Extra. Yeah, still, oo. Kasi, okay, ang kaibahan kasi ng mga financial assets is their characteristics. Okay, so, you could do the digital banks or deposits, money market. The problem is, it's very liquid and it's very dependable. The problem is, mababa yung return. But, yun na, may liquidity ka. And then, of course, then there are bonds. The problem with bonds is, yun na nga, mas malaking amount ang required for you to avail of the bonds. But the returns are higher. And then yung equities naman, magalaw siya. Super volatile. So you're not sure if by the time you need the money, kung up ba siya or down. But over the long term, there's a good chance na mas mataas siya. Tapos mas higher ang return. But you don't wanna put like a big chunk of your money there. Maybe a small portion, mga 20%. But it's more like, magkano ba kailangan ko and what can I afford to keep for retirement? And then you set it aside. Maybe like 20% or 30% of your amount that you need for investments.
Kunyari, if I put, for example, 15,000 to a digital bank, and then 10,000 I put sa stocks, you think that's a safe bet for your 25,000 as surplus mo every month?
Yeah, I think so. And also, yun na nga, yung nasa digital bank, pag umabot siya ng certain amount, which is more than maybe your 6 months expenses and emergency fund, maybe you can add some more to your stock investments. Kasi sagot na yung 6 months emergency fund, di ba?
So, ano ba, rule ba, you think it's safe to say na if you have 6 months worth of savings, you're good?
You're good to open yourself up to other
investment na mas risky.
Na mas risky.
Okay.
But of course, that's not 100% equity. Pwede rin naman bonds, di ba?
Okay. Ikaw, Andrew?
Oo. Tama. Yung pag-allocate, hindi rin pwede lahat safe eh. Kasi tulad ng sabi ni April, kung lahat digital banks lang, that whole thing. Liquid nga siya, pero yung return mo, ano lang din yan. Very, very modest, no? Although maganda ang rates ngayon ng digital banks sa at least mga 4%. So if you're happy with that, then you can opt for that. But I would like to be a little more aggressive and maybe have that allocation na where I can go. Kasi like you said, you're trying to overcome and get to your first million and all that. So in order to get there, kung ang put aside mo is 25,000, maybe half of that, no? You need to get more return from other products and like yung mga mutual funds that are available. Do your due diligence and baka may makita kang mutual fund dyan na nag-fit sa risk appetite mo, then you can invest there, no? Then
So
hopefully you
siguro,
will-
pwede, kuha ka ng isang conservative and then something na medyo aggressive ka na.
you can mix it.
But I don't wanna assume anyone's age, no? But I just wanna ask, since both of you seem to be, thriving and financially stable, what advice would you have given yourself a few years ago that could have helped you more at your age? Like, for example, your 20-year-old self and your 30-year-old self.
Siyempre pa isip. Maybe, more risk management. Kasi, pero, doon ka matututo pag nalugi ka. But, more risk management, maybe. Yun na nga, fluctuations in the market. Saka yun, be less emotional. To have a plan, essentially, and to stick to that plan. I think that would help a lot. Like yun na nga, having that liquidity para tulad yun na nga, nung nagkaroon ng global financial crisis, it was a great opportunity to buy stocks. But if you don't have that liquidity, hindi ka makakabili. Yun. And syempre, lagging now, di ba? The market is tough and a lot of people are scared. But then again, now is actually a great time to buy. Pero kailangan, alam mo, pag bumibili ka, pwede ka maipit ng matagal. So yun, I think, yun na nga, yung risk-taking part is, let's say, nung bata ako, bumili ako, pero I bought too early, tapos naging volatile. But, like, I needed the money, so I ended up selling at a low price. So, walang risk management na nangyari. Kasi dapat, alam mo, if you need the money, huwag mo siyang bibili ng stocks. Yung pang bibili mo lang yung pang long term, di ba?
Mas
Yung
pag-usok
ganun.
ka nung bata ka in terms of finance.
Yun yung mas aggressive or yun na nga. Yung mga ganun, tsaka yun na nga, let's say, bumili ka ng condo, tapos wala kang tinabing liquidity, tapos tumaas ang interest rate, o di patay.
Pero,
yung mga ganung issue. So, mas may plan, mas may konting risk management, mas added liquidity.
but also you're right na those are things that you learn from experience, no? It's something that you have to go through. Baga.
Or talk to people, listen to their advice, and really think about it before you pursue something, rather than just depending on emotions or what you feel like doing.
Andre, how about you?
Well, I'll tell my younger self na more discipline sa spending. I think when I was younger, yung you take it for granted, hindi ka maaga mag-invest. Then, yeah, I think, so the advice is really for those starting out. Start early. Parang, even if it's never too late, I think it's better you start now. Kasi malaki yung magiging benefit sa'yo eh. Yung compounding of wealth. The earlier you do it, the better. And if you limit your spending, tulad ng sabi ni April, pag dumating yung panahon na kailangan mo yung pera, kasi nandiyan na yung opportunity, at least, handa ka. So you have to be ready to grab those opportunities. So marami ngayong opportunities. So mahal nga yung property, pero let's say the stock market now, ang baba ng stock market ngayon. Volatile siya, pero it could make room, in your portfolio kasi ngayon lang ganyan yung presyo niya. And then if you look at the historical record, in the last few years, the equities will tend to do well, no? And these Philippine companies, their earnings keep on growing per year. Yung Philippines is already 120 plus million people in population. So that type of discipline, no? So just minimize your spending and then start investing now.
Actually, it's really about the mentality, no? Yung tulad nung sinabi mo kanina na since I think hindi ko kayang bumili ng 10 million condo, I'll just spend my money. But the thing is, if you just keep enough money, there will be a lot of opportunities for you to grow that savings. No? Okay. Also, you were also talking about stocks, no, and equity nga, and you mentioned that, companies' earnings will keep on growing. And so, for someone naman who's beginning to invest in stocks, do you have any advice?
Well, now is a good time to invest. Pero yun na nga, have that mindset na this is something that I'll hold on for a long period of time. Ang gusto ko nang sabihin is, huwag yung titignan yung PSEI index. Kasi, kung titignan yung individual stocks, there are so many stocks right now na nagbibigay ng dividends greater than 4%. Kasi we're talking about digital banks giving 4%, saya na tayo. Pero ang 4% ng digital banks, may 20% withholding tax. Ang cash dividends, 10% lang withholding tax. Pero ang kaibahan is, yung digital banks, may liquidity ka. Ang cash, yun nga, yung stocks, pag binili mo, baka maipit ka kasi baka bumaba yung price. But, if you have a long-term time horizon, kasi nga mura sila, may capital appreciation kayo, tapos ngayon, may mga 4%, may pang 7%.
Actually, that's a good advice. Kasi usually, when you go into stocks, sasabihin, hindi, blue chip companies, dyan ka na lang mag-invest usually. But also, you can actually look at the dividends as well.
And the good news is, actually, kahit blue chip sila, dahil sa sobrang mura nila, mayroong nagbibigay ng 4%, and 7%, mga ganun. So, parang, kailan mo pa makikita yan? So, I feel like now is a good opportunity, but I know the sentiment is so bad.
Yeah.
And, it's very volatile. So, hindi natin alam kailan mag-improve. Pero, while I'm waiting, I'm getting my 4 and 7. So, pwede ako maghintay, wait na lang ako, di ba? Hanggang sa mag-improve.
Yeah. How about you, Andre? Especially tayo with Michael Asia.
Yeah, it's talaga. Ang stocks, it's a very risky asset to own. So you have to be prepared. I guess April had already explained it best, no? There'll be ups and downs. But given where prices are, companies, you have to do your research and due diligence. Ang daming information available naman dyan. So you just need to really monitor it, and then there are really good deals out there right now. So there's a space for that.
When you go into stocks, that it's something that you should also be interested to monitor.
It's better if you're informed, no? Para you can make proper decisions. Kasi you're taking a risk.
Right.
So it's better that you understand what you're doing.
Siguro just last question before we close this this conversation. If you can only give one advice to someone who wants to start saving, not even investing, just, yung matuto lang mag-ipon, what's the advice that you'll give that person?
Dami natin pinag-usapan. So, I think, i-prioritize mo yung investment rather than thinking of it as an afterthought na pag meron ako or tsaka na yan. Unahin mo na yan. Para, make it a priority or, as I always tell my kids, be intentional about investing rather than making it an afterthought na only if I have more or if only I have something.
It's really about the mindset na you really want to save.
Yes. And your future self, yun na nga. So that you can get your first million, which will become 100 million.
True. And then you don't have to work forever. Kasi yun naman ang goal natin, di ba?
Make your money work for you.
Yes.
Well, to support what April had said, bawasan niyo yung gastos niyo.
Yun talaga,
Yung
especially
spending,
for...
bawasan niyo yung hindi kailangan para meron kayong pang-invest. Tapos yan, hindi lang yan isa-save. Pero kakanapan ng areas kung saan pwedeng lumaki. So, magiging proactive ka ngayon sa investing.
Alright. So, before we end this conversation, we'd like to thank, of course, Miss April. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing your insights. And of course, Mr. Andre G for sharing his learnings as well with us today. So, thank you so much.